welcome back to the David67 Celtic YouTube channel. Today's video going to be a post-mortem or autopsy of Celtic's rather tragic 6-0 loss to Atletico Madrid on Tuesday evening. I was going to do a reaction video yesterday, but was unfortunately unwell all day with flu, but happily I'm feeling a lot better today. Before we crack on with the video, just a wee request if you can. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Do like the video if you like the video. It does help with boosting the analytics. And as always, please do pop comments, opinions in the comment section to go with the video. So obviously, 6-0 loss to Atletico Madrid was a terrible result. I thought it was, up until the time of Dyson Maeda getting sent off, Celtic were very much in the game. We had a few chances, half chances. We looked like we could have given Atletico a good run for their money. I thought Maeda and Palma looked good to start with. I thought Celtic to start the game were quite well organised in defence. We were a bit unlucky to concede a deflected goal with Griezmann. I think had it not been for the deflection, carrying it wide of Joe Hart, that Hart would have saved it. However, it's all ifs and buts. The game obviously did revolve around Dyson Maeda's sending off. I think it was rather harsh. I think it's one of these ones where Maeda went to block the ball. The Atletico Madrid player kicked through, and Maeda's foot collided with Hermoso's shin. Hermoso went down as if he'd been shot, writhing about in agony. And from past knowledge, if you actually are injured, broken your leg, etc., you don't writhe about in agony, you lie as still as possible because moving is absolute agony. However, the Atletico Madrid subs, managers, coaches screamed and shouted, pressurised the fourth official, pressurised the referee. VAR got the referee to look at it again, and if you freeze frame virtually anything, it's going to look 10 times worse, as was proven last night in the Man United game in Copenhagen, where Rashford's challenge, very similar in many ways to Maeda's, looked far, far worse on slow motion and then freeze frame. I think if the referee actually watched the whole sequence of Maeda and Hermoso, you would have seen that Maeda went to block the ball, Hermoso kicked through, there's contact between the two players, it's accidental, it certainly doesn't rise to violent conduct or excessive force, as is supposed to be the threshold for a red card. However, nowadays, tackling anybody seems to be getting outlawed, and virtually anything looked at on VAR, freeze frame and slow motion looks 10 times worse. However, having said that, it looked like Celtic very much fell apart after that. They defended very poorly. Johnston, CCV, Scales, Taylor never seemed to quite work out who was marking who. The midfield players often got back into the box, clogging things up, confusing who was marking who. Several times, Johnston, CCV, Scales, and Taylor seemed to get mixed up as to who was marking, who was blocking, getting in each other's way, and I thought Celtic's defensive performance was very poor. Having said that, also, I was rather surprised that having gone 1-0 down, that we kept on attacking, kept on with our attacking players, throwing on O and Kyogo for a spell together. I'm rather surprised in many ways that when we had a one-man advantage against Madrid at Celtic Park for what turned out to be 15 minutes, we kept a back five. We kept a very negative way of looking at the game. However, here we are, a goal down, a man down, and rather than playing a defensive game and hoping to hit them on the break using the pace of Kyogo, Palma, or O'Reilly, etc., breaking from midfield. Instead, we kept on attacking against an excellent Madrid side. Thought Madrid played an amazingly good game. There were some incredible finishes, as well as some rather very poor, disappointing defending. If there ever was a game for me to Celtic to play a back five, going on the defence, hoping to stifle Madrid, frustrate them, and then using Kyogo, Maeda, Palma to break through the middle against Madrid as they attack more and more. However, the red card ruined that, and I think Celtic now have a rather slim chance of getting out this group. I think we have got the potential to beat Lazio away from home. I think we've got the potential to beat Feyenoord at Celtic Park in the last Champions League game, but it's going to take us playing at our best, maybe getting a wee bit rub of the green with some free kicks and penalties and bookings and sending offs all going our way rather than going against us. We may need a Luis Palma goal like we had against Lazio, which is a few millimetres onside as opposed to a few millimetres offside. We need something just to give us that wee bit of a boost. I think playing against any team with 10 men, we're going to be up against it, and especially up against one of the best teams in Europe with world-class players throughout their starting 11 and world-class players to bring off the bench. Now, I've seen quite a lot of criticism of Kyogo. I think Kyogo didn't play at all well, but then he was up against it from the start. Things got more and more difficult as the game went on. I think the calls for Kyogo to be chucked out the side are very premature. And I think very much Kyogo should start against Aberdeen at the weekend, or even I do wonder whether it's time for Rodgers just to do a wee bit of experiment and have Kyogo and O as a front two. As again, I think that may trouble the Aberdeen defence and also give them a different set of tactics to beat. I think Celtic, both under Rodgers this year and Postecoglou, the last couple of years have rather been set in their ways. Personally would never have a problem with Celtic going into an away game in the Champions League with a back five and having a defensive mindset. I think we've got attacking players with pace who can exploit a team overcommitting. And I think we do actually have enough quality in defence ordinarily to beat and take on most teams. I did find a few Celtic pundits and Celtic YouTube channels rather scoffing of us playing a back five. The back five has worked exceedingly well for Stevie Clarke and the Scottish national side, which some may say that as being a little bit defensive, but it does use the talents of the team. Although we're playing a back five with Scotland, the left back and the right back is very much encouraged to be an attacking player. The midfielders can get forward to support the strikers, which is probably why so many of Scotland's goals internationally are coming from our very talented midfielders, especially McGinn and McTominay, rather than our less skillful attackers. So I personally would be very happy to see in Rome Rodgers using slightly more defensive tactics, nullifying Lazio's attack, getting them to overcommit and then hitting them on the break. And I think we've also got creative attacking players who can create a goal out of nothing, such as Palma especially, although he sadly will be missing for the game in Rome. However, Kyogo, O'Reilly, Bernardo, McGregor, Home, all are very talented players who could take things on in Rome to get us a win, similar to the last time we were there, where we got a brilliant win with a late goal by Olivier Ncham, playing similar tactics of nullifying Lazio and then hitting them on the break. Um, and Celtic, in the last time we played Lazio, in Rome rather, we very much controlled the game. Also seen a lot of criticism of the board and lack of ambition, both from ex-pros, pundits, fans, YouTube and journalists. I don't personally see the board as being showing a lack of ambition. I think Celtic did go in for a lot of players in the transfer window, but those players who were Champions League ready chose to go and play for teams in bigger leagues for bigger money and bigger prestige. Um, I think Celtic showed their ambition, the board showed their ambition by sanctioning big, long, extended contracts for players such as Kyogo, Hatate, Maeda, O'Reilly, Ralston, Welsh, etc., etc. Celtic committed a lot of money to those players with the hope of keeping them at the club. We've also signed, I think, some very good, talented young players such as Luis Palma and Navrocki. Sadly, Navrocki's been injured for practically his whole time at Celtic. I think also looking at highlight reels, uh, Tillio looks like a player who could be great for Celtic. He seems still to be on the back burner with Rodgers. Never properly been explained just why he isn't settling down in Scotland or what the problem is. I think players such as Thiago Home, Bernardo can all get better and better. And I think if we do retain our core of Johnston, CCV, Navrocki, Hatate, McGregor, O'Reilly, Kyogo, Maeda, Palma for the next 2 or 3 seasons, I can see us really doing well in Europe, and which may make it easier for the top level players to come to play for Celtic instead. I really would love the pundits and the Celtic fan sites to say which particular players they think wanted to come to Celtic and Celtic's lack of ambition in the boardroom stopped them coming. People have cited uh, Dominik Livakovic, the Croatian goalkeeper. He seemed very, very keen right from minute one to go to play in Turkey. Even before the transfer fee for Livakovic was negotiated between the two clubs, Livakovic and his agent had already finalised um, bonuses and wages, etc., for him going to Fenerbahce. Podence, I think, was always destined to go to a bigger league for more and more money. I don't think he had ever any intention of coming to Celtic. Several of the players who were linked with coming to Celtic said very clearly in interviews they wanted to go to one of the big 4 or 5 European leagues. And as good a club as Celtic are, um, they didn't see their future being in a backwater league like Scotland. I think the only real hope for Celtic in terms of getting prestige is to join a prestige league. I don't think there's any prospect of Celtic ever being invited to join the English Premier League, as was thought to be about 10 years ago. And so Celtic and the other lot, Rangers, can't do much other than be Scottish, play in the Scottish leagues, and do their best, and hope by creating a bit of stability they can do well in Europe. I think Celtic have got more than the players to do well in Europe. I think with a bit of rub of the green, a bit of luck, the results against Feyenoord, Lazio, and first time round against Atletico Madrid could have been so much better. A lot of decisions have gone our way. Some indiscipline has cost us as well. And for me, a lack of ambition against Madrid in the last 15 minutes at Celtic Park has also cost us some points. Um, I think Celtic, with the full support of their fans, all cheering them on at Celtic Park against the final game against Feyenoord, and the next time around in Rome, although it appears that Lazio are massively cutting Celtic's away allocation. I think Celtic do have the prospect of a good result in Rome and a winning result against Feyenoord in the last match. But we shall see what we shall see. We'd love to see what other people's opinions are of where Celtic are, where Celtic are going, and just do other people feel that the board are being showing a lack of ambition, and if so, just which players should Celtic have signed with the money that they have in the bank? Which players actually would have come to Celtic that Celtic could have signed? In essence, Champions League ready players go to the big teams. We have to hope that, given the prestige of Scotland, the TV coverage for Scotland, that what we're going to do is we'll get a hidden gem like the Japanese players, all of whom have flourished in Scotland, or get a player such as Matt O'Reilly, rejected by a couple of big clubs in England, playing for Wimbledon. We sign him and he gets better and better under Postecoglou and even better under Rodgers. That's the kind of player that Celtic have the real prospect of signing. Players from smaller European leagues such as the Scandinavian leagues, Eastern European leagues, and also signing from Far East as well. The days of signing multi-million pound players from the big European leagues and the big English league, Premier League sides, I think is very much a thing of the past, unless Celtic get upgraded to another big Premier League with a $1 billion contract from Sky or another TV network. So that finishes off today's rant. Apologies for it being a day late, but I was in bed all day yesterday with the flu. Tomorrow and Saturday we'll be doing a little preview of the Aberdeen game on Sunday. And later today we'll also be doing a preview of the Celtic women's next match, which is tomorrow evening at the Excelsior against Glasgow City women's side. So for today, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Goodbye and hail, hail.